Hello, Phantom fans. My name is Sam Olmstead. His name is Justin Irwin. This is the Dump and Chase podcast. Thank you for tuning in on either Western Reserve Radio, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And a big thank you to our sponsors, the great staff at Advanced Podiatry. For more information on services and treatments offered, office locations, and appointment information, go to advancedpodiatry.com. So, Justin, 3 games, treacherous driving, late game heroics, quite the weekend, wasn't it?
These 3 in less than 3. 3 games in just under 3 days. Yeah, that's kind of makes for a long weekend, but it was fun. Most of it. Not the driving.
The driving home was not fun. So a few weeks back, we sent a Phantom's Care package to our friends at Thunderstruck, the unofficial Lincoln Stars podcast, and they were kind enough to reciprocate with a Lincoln Care package. So we each have a box here, so we thought we would open them for the first time as we record. I'll go ahead and go first. So right off the bat, seems okay. I have a wallet. I'm guessing this is BA's wallet.
Why would you think that?
Well, the ring and the leather, I think, is kind of the dead giveaway.
Oh, okay.
And opening it up. Yep. Brandon's wallet. Thank you for that. That was kind. Let's see. Well, we have keys in here too. Car keys.
Oh, okay.
There's a Lincoln Stars keychain. I mean, it was nice of them to send a keychain, but no clue what to do with the keys. Let's see. Oh, one more thing. It's a notebook. Okay. All the pages seem to have my name scribbled in them. This is not creepy at all.
Oh.
Nor is the heart with mine and Gene's name in the middle. I mean, I listen to their show. I know he's obsessed with me as much as I get mentioned, but, damn.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. Justin, what'd you get in your box?
Okay, opening it up here. Okay, another box. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's 5 human heads.
Human heads?
Yeah.
Check the box. Does that have the words like Colorado, medical, anything written on it?
Yeah. I was kind of, happy to see Colorado Medical on a box. Not quite what I was expecting, but
that may not be the care package. You may want to call the police. I think those went missing recently.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was fun, but
I didn't write the script.
I'm just hoping for just a split second of reaction of wait, where's my wallet?
I only learned about the severed heads thing about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, they actually did send us both very awesome Lincoln Stars t-shirts, and they sent custom-made Dump and Chase podcast shirts, courtesy of BA. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for all that stuff. It was very well appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Always appreciate having some additional swag, so...
And Matt Lipsack was happy one of his quotes is finally on a t-shirt. For those of you that listen to the show, the front of the t-shirt actually says "that was frightening" on it. So
I think maybe we should make that our slogan.
Yeah. All right, so getting into actual hockey talk, we wanted to take a quick look at the Eastern Conference standings. With the weekend the Phantoms had, they were able to jump Madison, move up into 4th place in the Eastern Conference. So real quick here, it's been a little while. We're going to just take a quick run through the standings in the East. So right now, starting off in first place, Dubuque with 67 points. Chicago trailing them by 1 with 66 points in second place. Muskegon in third with 56. Youngstown in 4th with 53 points, trailing Muskegon by 3, but they do have 1 game in hand on Muskegon. Madison bumps down to 5th place with 50 points. Youngstown has, a 3-point lead on them, plus 3 games in hand. So hopefully a nice little cushion there. Because again, the difference between 4th place and 5th place as far as playoff seedings is huge. 6th place right now holding on to the last playoff spot is Green Bay with 45 points. Cedar Rapids in 7th with 43. Team USA with 39 points in last place. That basically has all been the 18s. Not much help from the 17s on that one. So, yeah, that's where we're at with the standings right now. Other than that, in this episode, we're going to break down this past weekend with the Gamblers. We're going to name our 3 stars of the week, have a listen to our interview with Forward Kyle Bettens, post-game comments from Brad Patterson, and look ahead to a trip to Chicago. And so with that, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll look at the weekend series with Green Bay. You're listening to the Dump and Chase podcast right here on Western Reserve Radio.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
I have the sound up, and I appreciate the guys that do the work now. But it is with great appreciation I see what the guys do, not only the announcers, but also the players. So we've had wonderful playoffs. I mean, single, double, triple overtime games. It's been fantastic.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
And we're back. So yeah, this past weekend, Green Bay Gamblers come to town for 3 games in 3 days. When it was all said and done, the Phantoms come out of the weekend with 5 out of a potential 6 points. So right away, we're going to jump right into the game on Friday night. This game was a 6-5 win for the Phantoms, and really got to make sure to get my breath here. I do not know how Matt made it through this game without his vocal cords just bleeding. He was a little worse for wear by the time the weekend was over, but yeah, the Saturday game will give me a little bit of a break here. But yeah, so starting off on Friday, the first period, Kenta Isagai, a little bit of a repeat of the game last weekend. 123 into the first period. Kenta, his 8th of the season from Chase Patella and Kyle Bettens, giving Youngstown a 1-0 lead. At the 12:38 mark, Brody Lamb from Green Bay, his 15th of the season, tying the game at 1. That was assisted by DeBoer and Servagno. And at 17:37, Cameron Lund on the power play, his 17th of the season from Green and Servagno, giving Green Bay a 2-1 lead. And that's how we go to the intermission. Coming into the second period at the 2:52 mark, Steven Sardarian, his 5th of the season, that was unassisted. He tied the game there at 2. At 14:59, Garrett Wilson, his 13th of the season and first as a Phantom from Steven Sardarian and Byard Hall. That gave Youngstown a 3-2 lead. Green Bay would tie it up just a few minutes later. Matt DeBoer, his 12th of the season from Lamb and Servagno. And that's how we go to the third period.
Take a drink, man. Take a drink.
Make sure I'm ready here. So going into the third period at the 1:39 mark, Peter Kramer, his 4th of the season for Murray, giving Green Bay a 4-3 lead. Just about a minute and a half later at 3:05, Justin Varner, his 9th of the season from Tiernan Shouty and Charlie Lurie, tying the game at 4. Youngstown would take the lead at 8:34. Jaden Grant, his 16th of the season from Winter Wallace and Adam Ingram. At the 9:47 mark, little over a minute later, Jared Crespo, his 8th of the season from Middlestat and Lamb, tying the game at 5. And that would be the point. That would be the end of the night for Kyle Chevette. Jacob Fowler would come in relief. And typically how baseball tends to work with these things. At the 10:43 mark, Charlie Lurie, his 14th of the season from Carter Rose and Tomasz Machu, gave Youngstown the lead again, 6-5. That would give him the lead for good. So with the Phantoms taking the lead on that goal and ending up winning, Fowler becomes the goaltender of record. So you have the starting pitcher who goes for 8 innings, leaves in a tie game. The reliever comes in, they win it. The reliever gets the win.
Yeah, I mean, it's odd timing. Coach Patterson, knew what he was doing, but yeah, it was an interesting game in that regard. Maybe only that regard. Despite the score, I think both teams had a lot that they would like to have done different.
Yeah, defense and goaltending was not at a premium in this game.
No, and it's not that it was pretty offense either. No. No. It was, I believe you described the first period as flailing around.
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah. Neither team was executing very well. Both teams off to just a really slow, dismal start, especially the goaltenders. Just neither one of them managed to get into the game, and
Yeah.
Patterson makes the change. We get the next one, and that's how it ends.
All right, so shots in the game. Green Bay with 26, Youngstown with 20. Youngstown on the power play was 0 for 1. Green Bay was 1 for 2. Kyle Chevette stopped 17 of 22 shots in 49 minutes and 47 seconds of game time, which ended up, again, being a no decision for him. Fowler stopped all 4 of the shots he faced. By virtue of the Lurie goal, he becomes the goaltender of the record. He picks up the win. This would be the last we'd see of Kyle Chevette on the weekend. So his numbers on the season, 13, 8, 4, and 2 with a 3.16 goals against average and a .898 save percentage. So we move on to the game on Saturday, and thankfully the recap on this is way shorter. This was a 2-0 win for the Phantoms, and simple enough. In the first period, the only goal was Winter Wallace, his 14th of the season, from Andrew Centrella and Adam Ingram, giving Youngstown a 1-0 lead. And then in the second period, Shane LaChance on the power play, his 7th of the season, from Garrett Wright and Kyle Bettens, giving Youngstown a 2-0 lead. No scoring in the third, so the Winter Wallace goal was all they needed. Shane LaChance with the insurance, but so Jacob Fowler getting his first USHL shutout in his 8th appearance this season. So shots in the game, Youngstown 22, Green Bay 20. Youngstown 1 for 4 on the power play. Green Bay was 0 for 3. Jacob Fowler picking up the win for the Phantoms. Again, his first USHL shutout. So overall, a very, very, very different game than what we saw on Friday.
Yeah, Wallace gets the goal at the 28-second mark. You know, this is why you get to your seats to start the game. Yeah, it was a much more, should I say, physical game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of hits, a lot of extracurricular stuff after the whistle. And yeah, Fowler got his first shutout. He faced some pretty tough shots in that game, continues to improve. And so, yeah, I think the, coaching staff was kind of looked and said, well, let's see how you can do with a quick turnaround.
So after the game on Saturday, and talking with Coach Patterson after the game about the impending return of Trey Taylor, who had missed the past few weeks with an upper body injury. So, this is what he had to say about his defenseman.
Yeah, he's a key player. You see the type, we've talked about it before, the type of minutes he plays, the type of situations, the type of leadership stuff that he has. Anytime you inject that in the lineup, it's obviously, a big influx for us. Trey's a competitor and he's been battling through a little bit dinged up, and we'll see where it goes here, but I'd expect him back sometime soon. And when he does, obviously it's with open arms. I know he's chomping at the bit and wants to be out there. It's just a matter of making sure it's right for everybody.
So we move on to the game on Sunday, and lo and behold, guess who was back in the lineup for the first time in a few weeks? Trey Taylor was back in there, and boy, did he come up huge there at the end of the third period.
Yeah, well, we've talked about him all season, and that's exactly what we expect.
So the game on Sunday, that was a 4-3 shootout loss for the Phantoms. Getting into the scoring in the first period, no scoring. The first goal of the game came in the second period at the 5:57 mark. Cameron Lund, his 18th of the season from DeBoer, giving Green Bay a 1-0 lead. So moving into the third period at 1:17, Alex Servagno, his 11th of the season from Cameron Lund. That gave Green Bay a 2-0 lead. And then at the 5:05 mark, Shane LaChance cutting the lead in half with a power play goal, his 8th of the season from Tiernan Schaude and TJ Schweighardt. 46 seconds later, Matt DeBoer, his 13th of the season, that was unassisted. Green Bay goes back up by 2 at 3-1. Then the last few minutes of the game gets very interesting. Youngstown on the power play at the 17:22 mark. Shane LaChance again on the power play, his 9th of the season and 2nd of the game from TJ Schweighardt and Kyle Bettens, knocking Green Bay's lead back down to 1, making the game 3-2 at that point. This would be the point to bring up Trey Taylor. The Phantoms had pulled Fowler for the extra attacker. Green Bay had a couple opportunities at the empty net, and if not for diving stops by Trey Taylor, this game would have ended differently. So this all ends up leading to, at the 1954 mark, 6 seconds left in the game, Jaden Grant, Shane LaChance both getting shots on net, the puck bouncing around. Adam Ingram picks it up, puts it into the back of the net for his 21st of the season, tying the game at 3. So we would go to overtime. Now the Phantom in overtime, no scoring there. The Phantoms would hold the puck for the vast majority of the period. We had a little bit of a clenching moment. Not clinching. We get a little frightened in these overtime games when Youngstown possesses the puck for the bulk of the overtime, and then the other team goes the other way once, and the game's over.
Yeah.
One shot, the game's over, and that's it. We almost had that. Green Bay picked up a breakaway with, I want to say, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left in the overtime, but Fowler shut him down. So the game goes to a shootout. Everybody was blank through the first 6 rounds. Dominic Barteco scored in the 7th round for Green Bay, and Garrett Wright was unable to score in the 7th. So that gives Green Bay the 4-3 win. The shooters in overtime for Youngstown: Bettens, Lurie, Ingram, Taylor, Sardarian, Patella, and Wright. All were no-goes there. So yeah, Green Bay picks up the 4-3 win. They get the extra point. Shots in the game: Youngstown 32, Green Bay 26. Youngstown on the power play was 2 for 4. Green Bay was 0 for 2. Jacob Fowler stopped 22 of 25 in the shootout loss. So after his overall weekend that he had, his record goes to 6 wins, 2 losses, and a shootout loss with 1 shutout. And he currently sits with a 1.89 goals against average and a .935 save percentage. Yeah, so I mean, on the one hand, it could be disappointing we didn't get that extra point, but still 5 out of 6 is nothing to sneeze about this weekend.
No. And, at this point, we have to mention both teams were just out of gas.
Yeah.
It got frantic there at the end. If you'd asked me last weekend if I thought Lubos Bartechko's son, Dominic, don't know if anybody remembers him, played for, I think, Nashville for a while.
No, just you. Just you. You're the only one.
Dominic Bartechko, if you asked me if he was going to be the guy who scored the goal in the, what was it?
7th round.
7th round. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that one. That's just how it goes. But yeah, we can make a deal about Green Bay seems to have, traded off key players, not really in anticipation of a deep playoff run, but they're still a USHL team, and to get 5 out of 6 points against anybody on a weekend is still good.
All right, so that'll do it for the recap. When we come back, we'll break this all down in this week's edition of 4 Points. So stay tuned to the Dump and Chase podcast right here on Western Reserve Radio.
Advanced Podiatry has been making happy feet in the Mahoning Valley for 35 years. Our offices are located in Cortland, Champion, Austintown, Columbiana, and Howland. Our Howland office has relocated to 8601 East Market Street in Howland Corners. Advanced Podiatry offers sports medicine and treatment plans for all ages. You can also request an appointment online by visiting our website at advancedpodiatry.com. Advanced Podiatry, where surgery is always a last resort.
Welcome back to the Dump and Chase podcast, brought to you by Advanced Podiatry. So for listeners new and old, 4 Points is where we break down the previous weekend into 4 categories: what we liked, what we didn't like, favorite moment, and the 3 stars of the week. Now, since I offered for Justin to go first last week and he had a mini stroke, I'll be kicking this one off.
That's probably for the best.
What people didn't hear is about the 45 seconds of editing while he gathered his thoughts.
Me go first? What?
Yeah, that did not. I thought I'd be nice, and instead I just made your head smoke. You got 5 new ones there. Pick out a good one.
I'm
pretty
right. Short of a duffel bag full.
There you go.
Probably another reference nobody gets.
Yeah, Joe Pesci. Yeah. All right. So what I like this weekend, talked a little bit about before, but yeah, 3-game series. getting 5 out of 6 points. And, say what you will, at the end of the day, Youngstown is a better team than Green Bay. They should have gotten these points. And, and it could have ended up being one of those trap weekends where everything just goes horribly wrong. But, this was a case of a better team getting the points that they should have gotten out of a lesser team. So, even though we had the shootout loss on Sunday, the Sunday game was just kind of a snoozer all around until that last few minutes of the third period. But to walk away with 5 of 6, there's not much I can be unhappy about.
No, obviously you want to say you played a perfect game, but there's no category for that at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I guess what I like kind of plays into that. You do have one of those games where you maybe got lucky, got those 2 points and won that one. The next night, you've got to come back a little bit better prepared. And I just really like, obviously, from the first shift on Saturday, we were a better team. We've made the point of, slow starts tend to come back to bite us. And 28 seconds, Winter Wallace is deflecting one into the net. You can't ask for better than that.
Okay, so as far as what I didn't like, and basically all it could really come down to was the shootout, was that 6 point we did not get. And this wasn't so much of a Sunday night problem. This has been an issue that's been going on for quite a while now. Youngstown last won a shootout in October 2019 in Lincoln. They are 0-8 in shootouts since then. And as far as the attempts in shootouts, the Phantoms are 3 for 33 in those 8 shootouts they've been a part of. Yeah, I was speaking to a member of the Phantoms organization, and I had brought up those numbers, and their reply to that was, I don't get too excited about shootout wins or losses, but that just sounds like it's impossible.
Well, like I said, if we were going to make up something, it would be something a lot more plausible.
Yeah, that's
a multiple season, 3 goals since 2019 in the shootout.
Yeah.
And I mean, nobody really looks at shootout wins and losses as real wins and losses. I get that. It's the lesser of whatever evil, 3 or 4 different format suggestions. The 3-on-3 overtime, go into a shootout is the best option in my opinion. But, to say that, well, I don't put that much into wins and losses, I put that much into points, and that's lost points. So,
well, the good thing about it is once it gets to the playoffs, there's no such thing as a shootout. So,
yeah, there's just double overtime.
Yeah.
Or longer, but we haven't gotten there yet, so knock on wood.
Yeah, what we truly didn't like from this weekend was the game going to a shootout on a Sunday evening.
Yeah.
At the end of a 3-game weekend. That's what we really didn't like, was the game going to a shootout.
Yeah.
Maybe end it in overtime. Like I said, Phantom scored 2 goals late. We kind of stole that point from Green Bay. But yeah, going to a 7-round shootout on a Sunday evening on the 3rd game of the weekend. Yeah, that may be what we didn't like.
Yeah, we can both agree on that. What we're saying for what we didn't like is really the second runner-up. Well, actually 3rd coming in after that snowstorm, but
yeah.
And what I didn't like, obviously Friday, we're the home team. They're driving in from Wisconsin. We should have better hop from the get-go. We should just have better energy all around. I just don't think we were really up for that game. It didn't come back to bite us, but, you play against Madison, Dubuque, Chicago, teams like that. You start like that, you're not getting 2 points.
So for my favorite moment, I'm going with Adam Ingram's tying goal on Sunday. We've seen it far more than we really want to, these games kind of being lost. The Phantoms kind of losing these games in the last seconds. I think we've seen that more than we've really wanted to over the last couple seasons. So it was nice for that to swing the other way. But at least from our vantage point, it just kind of goes from this wild scrum around the net. Because from where we were, I couldn't even see Ingram take the shot.
No.
There was just this massive humanity in front of the net, and then all of a sudden the puck's in the back of the net.
Yeah, that was a lot of goals actually this weekend were just bouncing in off of walls of humanity or finding little holes.
So that one was truly a surprise, because I'm kind of going back and forth between the clock and what's going on, and then just out of nowhere the puck's in the net. We didn't see where it came from.
You're looking at the goal judge going, "You see it right?"
What tiny little bit of energy we had left after that weekend came out in that moment. So for me, I'm going with that for my favorite moment of the week.
My favorite moment of the week, I'm going to go with the win on Saturday, in particular, because we put up a good performance, a 2-0 shutout. All right, yeah, there was, a little over 2,000 people in attendance, a lot of them pretty fired up. So, yeah, to get a win like that in front of a better than normal crowd for us, that's definitely my favorite moment.
Yeah, and those are the type of games that will get people to come back the next time.
Exactly.
Okay, so to finish this all off, we have the Dump and Chase podcast 3 stars of the week. So starting it off with the 3rd star, that goes to Adam Ingram. 1 goal, 2 assists on the weekend, including, like we talked about, the game-tying goal on Sunday with 6 seconds left in the 3rd. Ingram had, coming into this weekend, had been in the midst of his longest scoreless streak of the season. So really looks, especially with lines shuffling around and everything else, really looked like Adam was able to get his groove back this weekend.
Yeah, he was a little bit snake bitten, and I think somewhat finding the right combination for him of lines, and I think he's finally starting to feel it again. 2nd star of the week, obviously, was going to show up here, Jacob Fowler. 2 wins and a shootout loss, a deep shootout loss. So, yeah, he battled all weekend. I think that the coaching staff decided to test him a little bit, see, how far he could go this weekend. Sunday, maybe not the best game for him, but yeah, he still got us a point in that game. So,
but yeah, just the 3 games alone, he ended up with a 1.33 goals against average, a .939 save percentage, and the 1 shutout. So, pretty good weekend for him overall. And our 1st star of the week, that goes to Shane LaChance. 3 goals this weekend, all on the power play, to go along with 1 assist. I had the comment made to me talking with Matt Lipsack about how they had the rule in baseball when you went to extra innings, you would start out with a runner on second base at the beginning of the inning. His suggestion was in the shootout to just put Shane LaChance at the side of the net and let him try to tip in shots. That's pretty much what he did this weekend and did it very well. But yeah, 3 power play goals on the weekend was real big as far as the comeback on Sunday. So yeah, for that, yeah, I mean, no brainer whatsoever. Yeah, Shane LaChance, 1st star this week.
Yeah, I mean, net front presence. That's, something we've noticed at games, sometimes lacking, especially on the power play. You want to get a big body in front. He's a big body, likes to get into the dirty areas too. So.
Okay, so that will do it for 4 points. A couple of weeks back, we got to have a chat with Phantoms forward Kyle Bettens. And boy, did the gods conspire against us on this one. We had to change locations and whatever room we were in, because the microphones that we use pick up every single noise in the back area. So we try to mitigate that as much as possible. Whatever room we were in, I think we had every Phantom employee ever that has ever worked for the Phantoms walk through one of these rooms while we were trying to get started. But
I expected the old Sparky costume to come walking through.
Yeah, nobody in it, just the costume.
Just the costume, yeah. Yeah, they're moving like training equipment, bicycles and, half of a gymnasium.
But yeah, we had a good 4 or 5 false starts there. But I mean, the reality is we're, tromping through their territory. But We hadn't had a situation even close to that yet in all these other interviews. So, Kyle was a trooper. He stayed patient with us. We managed to pull it off. So without further ado, this is our conversation with Kyle Bettens. And we're back in the locker room area of the Covelli Center. We're here with Phantoms forward Kyle Bettens. So right off the bat, Kyle, how did you get started in hockey?
Basically at a young age, my dad, obviously grew up playing hockey, and he kind of taught me, basically everything I need to know when I was around probably about 4 years old. And I remember as a kid, we kind of had a backyard rink in the backyard, and on the lake, and there was a nearby community center with a rink that we'd go to, and basically just started from there.
Okay, so you're from the Winnipeg area. You spent some time in the MJL. Did you ever know or cross paths with Ingram while you were there?
I did, yeah. I didn't know him personally, but I knew of him, and it's kind of weird now that we're playing on the same team, but I've never really been friends with him before, but we've kind of grown into a pretty good relationship here.
All right. One thing we've talked about on the show throughout the season is the speed that you have for someone that's your size. And you always seem to surprise the defenders with it. Is that something that's always naturally been part of your game, or is that something that's just evolved over the years?
No, I was always a bigger kid, but obviously as you get older, everyone kind of amps up their speed of the game. But I took a lot of pride in summer training to get faster, and obviously with the height and weight going around, I got to be able to move out there, and I guess I'm fortunate enough with the speed I was blessed with. So.
Now for the with that, things have changed a little bit with the trades recently, but for the bulk of the season, we've seen you on a line with Jaden and Adam. You guys have had a lot of success on that line. How much fun is it for you guys when you're out there on a shift and just everything's clicking?
Yeah, I know some nights it might not, and some nights it will, but obviously when we're rolling, it's obviously pretty fun, and we talk lots on the bench, and we kind of keep each other in the loop of what's going on, and always supporting each other and keeping each other accountable. But other than that, we're just three really good hockey players, and we're just out there try to get the win. So.
All right, so you're an 01 birth year. You're coming down to the end of your junior career. What has this season meant to you so far, and what are you looking forward to as far as next season at Minnesota Duluth? Yeah,
obviously playing here in Youngstown was a huge honor, and I was fortunate enough to get picked up here and traded here, and it's been nothing but positives, and we have a really special group this year, and the coaches have been really good, and just looking forward to the playoff push here and ending on a good start, and obviously next year a world-class college program, and I know everything about the coaches and the players going in, and we got a pretty good freshman class, so that's probably what I'm looking forward to most.
You were with Omaha last season, and now there is this mini Omaha faction in Youngstown. You, TJ, Andrew, and now Garrett. Have you guys enjoyed getting to spend time together again?
Yeah, actually just yesterday we all four of us went out to get a bite to eat and just kind of catch up, and it's kind of nice knowing some of your past friends are on a team with you again, and you kind of cherish those moments a little more, and it's been nothing but good things. So.
All right, you've gained a lot of fans in Youngstown this season. We're definitely excited to see what your future holds for you. Would you like to say anything to the fans that are listening to this?
Yeah, obviously I love coming to the rink every day and trying to put on the best performance possible, and obviously the support there by the fans is super huge for us, and we always love it every night when you guys are loud and things like that, but just keep showing up and bring a smile, and hopefully we'll bring the win. So.
All right, we've been talking back in the locker room area with Phantoms forward Kyle Bettens. Kyle, good luck the rest of the way. Thank you very much for taking a few minutes with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. And that was forward Kyle Bettens. Again, big thank you for helping us out there. And with that, it's time for another break. The past is the past, and when we come back, we'll look to the future as the Phantoms will travel to Chicago for a weekend series with the Steel. Stick around right here on Western Reserve Radio.
Hello, Phantom fans. This is the Dump and Chase podcast.
We're trying to model ourselves after what you guys have done a little bit.
Voice of the Phantoms and friend of the show, Mr. Matt Lipsack.
I am along for the ride and perhaps provide some modicum of adult supervision here, although really that's a lost cause at this point.
We welcome back Phantoms president Andrew Goldman. That went smoother. It went smoother than it did with Matt.
I want that added. I want that added.
What are you shaking your head now for?
I'm agreeing with you because he has absolutely killed us this year.
Yeah, that's not helping. I'm trying to process. Okay,
Well, so far, finger guns has meant Sam shut up, so got to come up with a different sign for that.
Listen, that was frightening.
And we're back. So this coming weekend, the Phantoms will be traveling to Chicago for a couple games with the Steel. So as far as the season series, this will be the 4th and 5th games these two teams have played against each other in what will be an 8-game season series. So far in 3 games against Chicago, Youngstown is 2-1. The last meeting was on January 15th. That was a 3-1 win for the Phantoms. So in 3 games, Youngstown has outscored Chicago 12-10. Youngstown on the power play in these games, 2 for 10. Chicago on the power play, 5 for 9. Last weekend, Chicago split the weekend with Cedar Rapids and Madison, winning both of those games 5-2. So coming into this weekend, Chicago with a record of 29-11-7-1. That is good for 66 points and second in the Eastern Conference. Youngstown coming in at 22-16-5-4 for 53 points. That is 4th in the East. Chicago on the season has scored a total of 189 goals. That is a 3.94 goals per game average. They have given up 156 goals per game. That is a 3.25 per game average. They are currently sitting with a plus 33 goal differential. Youngstown this season has scored 149 goals. That's a 3.17 goals per game average. That's actually ticked up a little bit in the last week or two. They are giving up they've given up 147 goals. That is 3.13 goals against per game. Youngstown's sitting with a plus 2 goal differential. As far as the special teams, Chicago on the power play, 27.6%. That is 1st in the East. Their penalty kill is 78.5%. That is 5th in the East. Youngstown on the power play, 20.6%. That is 6th in the Eastern Conference. Their penalty kill, 78.7%. That is 4th in the East. So the games this weekend, that'll be Saturday the 19th. That'll be 8:05 local time here. And on Sunday, that game will be at 4:05 our local time here. These games will be available on Hockey TV, and I believe Chicago still streams their audio through the Mixer app or whatever it is. So if you don't have Hockey TV looking for the free version, look into the Mixer app. You'll be able to get the audio from those games there. Yeah, so at least right off the bat, we have had much better success so far against Chicago than we did last season. I mean, Chicago is still winning games. They're not nearly as scary as a team as they have been the past couple years. The goaltending is lacking. The defense is lacking. All in all, at least so far, we've shown that we can match up with Chicago.
Yeah, the Phantoms, we're built kind of more defense-oriented than some teams, especially in the East. I think that defense-first mentality really plays havoc with Chicago. I think going down the stretch, I like our chances a lot better this season than the previous seasons. And, yeah, I think we can give them some real problems.
Yeah, let me see. Taking a look here. Yeah, the one game that the Phantom, we've given up, Chicago has scored 10 goals on us in 3 games. 8 of those came in one game. That was Chicago's 8-4 win on right after Thanksgiving. The other 2 games was a 5-1 win for the Phantoms and a 3-1 win for the Phantoms. So 8 of those 10 goals coming in one of those 3 games. So defensively, we held them even then. And that's been the arguments that's been the arguments that have been made for what the Phantoms have tried to do as far as bringing in players and everything else on the defensive side, because it, like with Chicago and with Team USA, teams just aren't playing defense against them, and we are.
Yeah.
And our results have been much different than a lot of other teams in the league this year.
Yeah, and that one game, that 8-4 game, that was a game we kind of tried to play their game. And we did not do well. We did okay comparatively, but so yeah, as long as we play our game, I think we match up quite well against them.
Okay, so with that, we're going to take our last break. On the other side, we'll wrap up this episode and look ahead to next week. You are listening to the Dump and Chase podcast right here on Western Reserve Radio. We're back, and that will do it for this week's show. A big thanks to Coach Brad and Kyle Bettens for helping us out. And again, stick taps to BA and Gene from the Lincoln Stars podcast for the care package. I also wanted to say thank you to the guys at Western Reserve Radio, Dave Ferris and Jim Craven. I have some new equipment on the way that's going to help us out with the show, and this is stuff they are very familiar with and were more than generous with their time to kind of show me some of the ins and outs on Saturday night. And also the baby watch is on. Voice of the Phantoms, Matt Lipsack, and his wife are expecting their second child, and apparently they are quickly coming up on 0 hour. So all the well wishes in the world to their family over the next week or so. Next week, we'll be recapping this coming weekend in Chicago and looking ahead to next weekend's 3-game road trip. And that will be another game with Chicago. That will be a Thursday night game. And then Friday and Saturday night with the under 18s up in Plymouth. So again, we want to thank our official sponsor of the Dump and Chase podcast, the fine physicians and staff at Advanced Podiatry. So for information about treatments and services offered, locations, and appointment information, check out advancedpodiatry.com. So as always, the Dump and Chase podcast is brought to you by hockeyfan.com, and be sure to check out our syndication partners at ohiohockeydigest.com. You can hear this show every Wednesday at 5:06 on Western Reserve Radio, either on westernreserveradio.com, through the TuneIn or Live 365 app, the Western Reserve Facebook and Twitter pages, and the Youngstown Phantoms Facebook page. Now, this show, all the new episodes, all of our old archived episodes, those can be found on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite audio podcasts. Now, thankfully enough, a lot of links there. All of these links can be found on our Linktree page, that of which can be found in the description of however you are listening to this episode. Now, you can find Justin on Facebook at facebook.com/YTHockeyFan and on Twitter at YTHockeyFan. Both of those are PHAN. And you can find me on Twitter at dump_chasepod. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in this week. So for Justin Irwin, I'm Sam Olmstead. We'll talk with you all next week right here on the Dump and Chase podcast. Bye now.